This session is looking at reporting injuries, specifically the Riddor regs. The aims of this session are for you guys to be able to explain the process for reporting injuries, state what Riddor stands for. It will come up in your test, I can almost guarantee it. And explain what sort of things should be reported to the HSE under the Riddor regs. Again, these are things that will come up in your test. All accidents, every single accident, no matter how big or how small, should be reported to the site agent and recorded in an accident report book. What should be reported to the HSE is a little bit different, and we're going to look at this in a lot more detail in this session. If you were injured on a building site or in any place at work, you should record it in the accident report book yourself. You should take that responsibility. The person who's been injured should record it, or somebody acting on their behalf. Any injuries that require hospital treatment must be thoroughly investigated. And depending on the severity of the injury, it may also need to be reported to the HSE. And we're going to look at the requirements for that in this session. So, Riddor. What does Riddor stand for? It stands for the Reporting of Injuries, Diseases and Dangerous Occurrences Regulations. Remember, the Riddor regs came into effect in 1996, and it essentially expands on information that was already in place in the Health and Safety at Works Act. So, what should be reported to Riddor? Any fatal injuries. If someone dies at work, it must be reported to the HSE under the Riddor regs. Any major injuries, that would be broken bones, essentially, apart from in your fingers or toes. So if you've broken any bone apart from your fingers or toes, then it should be reported straight away to the HSE under the Riddor regs. And if there was an injury to yourself or anyone for that matter at work, which meant you're off work for more than 7 days, then it should also be reported to the HSE. Interestingly, the regs also state if you're unable to carry out your full range of duties. So say, for example, you're off for 5 days, but when you came back, you couldn't actually carry out the role the same way that you had before for say, another sort of 5 days, then that should still be reported to the HSE under the Riddor regs. As well as injuries, you should also report dangerous occurrences, specific dangerous occurrences. Things like the collapse of a crane, a hoist or a lift, for example. Like an explosion, electrical short circuit causing a fire, or any sort of unplanned fire which lasts more than, causes the suspension of work, for more than 24 hours. If there's an unintentional collapse, that should be reported to the HSE under the Riddor regs. Unintentional explosion, or the accidental escape or release of a pathogen. If a plant, which is like the industrial vehicles, comes into contact with overhead power lines which exceed 200 volts, it's part of the reason why our lines on a building site are 110. It's much safer. If people contract industrial diseases from work, they should also be reported to the HSE. Things, it could be skin disease, lung disease, poisonings, or occupational cancer, for example, maybe through breathing asbestos, which we'll look at in a later video. and they should be reported to the HSE if they happened as a result of work. I mean, if you come into contact regularly with cement or flux, you know, we use flux as plumbers, it can cause dermatitis, and if that occurs as a result of your work, then it should be reported to the HSE. Picture of dermatitis on the right there, some skin cancer starting up there on the left. It is a criminal offence not to report these occurrences to the HSE under the Riddor regs. It could result in an unlimited fine. Now, you guys have got a task to do. Good luck.